Good morning, everybody. Could you, first of all, I hope you can hear me. Could someone tell me if it's fine? Yes, it seems.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, let me welcome you to this webinar on the Horizon Result Booster. So I'm Cathy Cisnik. I'm working in the DG Research and Innovation, and I have the pleasure today to introduce this session. So I'm here with a whole team of colleagues of DG Research and Innovation, and with partners also of the consortium running the booster service. And so we're here to also answer your questions. So the webinar follows a series of previous ones to provide you, as you know, guidance to what is expected when it comes to dissemination and exploitation. This one is a bit different, as it will also explain you the services and the tools that we put at your disposal to help you to disseminate and exploit your own results. So during this webinar, we will be using the Slido to address your questions. So you already saw that you could, well, use the application. So if you haven't done it yet, you may connect either via the browser or through the mobile device. So you enter Slido and use the access code hashtag HRB. And then if you want, you can also scan the code that you see here on the first slide. During the webinar, you will also be able to ask your question via Slido, and the questions will be answered either via the tool or at the end of the presentation. So in order to prioritize the questions, we invite you to use the voting options, so and to vote the questions that might be the most important for you. In this way, the speakers will be able to see which question they have to address first. And as I mentioned, questions will be also directly answered in Slido, and you will find them also on the FAQ on the funding and funding portal. In case you would have still questions after the webinar, we invite you to consult the website of the boosters or to reach out to us. And then you will also receive a copy of the slides and the links of the presentation. So then let's move on to the presentation as such. And so the next slide. So, sorry, I have an issue. Yes, okay. So today, as I mentioned, we will guide you through the different services of the Horizon Result Booster and what will they bring to you. So the booster, in a nutshell, is a service offered by the European Commission to you beneficiaries to boost your own impact. So depending on the maturity of the project as such, the boosters can help you in different ways, either to better disseminate and valorize the results of your own projects, to also increase your exploitation potential, and to improve your access to the market if this is one of your wishes. And finally, it will also help you to implement your dissemination and exploitation strategy as such. Looking at the Commission aspect and the research and innovation program, the booster will also have an important impact to ensure an effective transfer of the research and innovation project result, either to policymaking, to industry, to society, and as a whole to maximize the impact of our program. So what is the service as such? So the Horizon Result Booster offer you 3 different services, depending, as I mentioned, on your needs and the type of projects that you have. The first big part of the service, it's a service that can help you to find other similar or complementary research and development project results to work together to support, for example, further development of dissemination and exploitation strategy, or to develop further projects. For example, this could be projects in more early stages or less mature project. For projects with more mature results, you can also get support to draft, for example, your business plan, or to draft or to create your exploitation approach to go to the market. What is really important for you to keep in mind is these services are really tailored, made according to your needs, and they are really free of charge. So it's interesting for you to jump in. And then the next slide, please. Yes, so just some information about the Horizon Booster. So it's run under framework contract that is implemented by external consultant. And what is important to know is that it's under confidentiality agreement. So everything that you might say will remain confidential. The service is made available for all the beneficiaries having participated to FP2, FP7, Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe. Meta Group is the company leading the consortium running this initiative, and it's well, I will give the floor, sorry, to Alessa Malesecche from the HRB group and the Meta Group, and explaining you more information. So Alessia, the floor is yours. If you can hear me, yes. And sorry, I think that I haven't pronounced your name in the perfect way. Sorry
do
for
not
this.
worry, do not worry. Even Italians have problems with my surname. Do not worry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Katie,
thanks
for introducing the session. Good morning to you all. My name is Alessia, and I'm the HRB manager working with the Meta Group, which is the leading partner of this consortium, which has been awarded by the Commission to deliver the Horizon Results Booster. Let me share my screen with you. Here we are. So my role here is to give you the first concrete information on how the Horizon Results Booster work and how you can take benefit of the Horizon Results Booster. So as Kerry has introduced, this is a European Commission initiative, fully free of charge for eligible projects. And aim in this case is to maximize the impact for projects funded on the FP7, H2020, and of course, Horizon Europe. So if you feel you may need some guidance, support, or help to how best disseminate and exploit your research results, this is the program for you. Yes, general eligibility. All the EU-funded projects are eligible, but additionally to what Katie introduced, is not that just directly funded by FP7, H2020 and Horizon Europe projects are eligible, but as well indirectly funded projects. This means initiatives like, the ones funded by the knowledge intensive communities or the Article 185 initiatives and so on and so forth. Three main services are provided. Service 1, portfolio dissemination and exploitation strategy to develop a portfolio of results and design an effective dissemination and exploitation strategy. Service 2, business plan development, and Service 3, go-to-market. But during this session, we will go through each one of those in details. My role here is to introduce you, the eligibility criteria. How it works. In the slide, you can see that you have two different boxes. On the left side, you have a red box. On the right side, the green box. In the red box, you have the dissemination related services. In the green box, the exploitation and go-to-market services. Service 1, portfolio dissemination and exploitation strategy, is actually divided in 3 modules. In the red box, module A, identification and creation of the portfolio and research and innovation project results, and module B, portfolio dissemination plan, design and execution. In the case of dissemination services, eligibility is connected to, of course, being a European project funded under FP7, H2020 and Horizon Europe. You can be an individual project to apply for the services, but services are delivered to project groups. And colleagues, which will explain more in details the services later, will explain you how this will work. On the right side, green box, we have the exploitation services. So service 1, portfolio dissemination and exploitation, module C, assisting projects to improve their existing exploitation strategy. Eligibility here, application is open to single projects and the focus will be on 3 key exploitable results. Then there is service 2, business plan development, application again open only to individual projects. The focus is only on 1 key exploitable result. And then service 3, go-to-market support. 6 different support typologies are available here, and we will discuss this later on more in detail. For you to know, dissemination services and exploitation services can run in parallel and have different experts team delivering them. Why should you benefit from the HAB services? Because, as you know, generation of an impact on the community or on the market strictly depends on dissemination and exploitation strategies and implementation. In our experience, we saw that how many times that wrong basics generate wrong strategies. And when projects go out of the lab, then meeting the external environment could bring surprises. And things could be different from what's planned and expected. So we have experiences of wrong identification of key exploitable results, confusion between customers and users and partners, use models not properly identified. Moreover, many projects have a lot of commonalities in terms of contents, in terms of stakeholders and groups of interest. Therefore, it's good as well to be part of a project group, joining forces for joint dissemination activities and having a better impact on policymakers as well. This will be explained later on during the service module A and B presentation, but HAB provides support to create project groups as well. When it's the best moment to request HAB service, I would say any given moment, the sooner the better. For you to know, when you apply to the HAB, you have to pencil date an indicative quarter when you prefer to have the service delivered. But in the application form, you have till 1 year after the submission. Therefore, you have pretty long time to plan your activities. When then, related to project activities, it would be better when you start to have clear ideas on the results of the project. This doesn't mean that you should have a very high TRL level, but you should have at least, a partner leading on the process, clearly identified and starting, to implement activities. Module A, the first dissemination service, and module C, the first exploitation service, are considered the entry point services. And our suggestion is to start around month 6 of project lifespan. How to apply to the HAB? Application is public and open at our website and portal, horizonresultsbooster.eu. There is a very clear request service button that you can click on. You can fill out the application online. First of all, you register as an applicant, and then you can fill in your application. You just need to produce a few information: project ID, a grant agreement number, name and email of the applicant, name and email of project coordinator, name and email of the PO. You can save application in draft status and continue whenever you would like to. During the application, specific questions are made and documents needs to be uploaded based, of course, on the type of service which are requested. And there are alerts that keep applicants informed about their readiness for specific requested services. All eligible projects can request all the services once. Therefore, if you have an eligible project, you can request from the very first service connected to dissemination to the very last service connected to the go-to-market. But this can happen only once. What happens after the submission of your application? The eligibility of application is verified by the European Commission. This usually could take around 3-5 days. Experts are then proposed by the contractor and accepted or rejected by the Commission according to the background, the expertise, and the CV. This takes other 3-5 days. The expert then contacts beneficiaries within 10 days from their appointment to organize a preliminary call to define the service delivery plan. If experts during the call realize that projects are not ready for the services they propose, another service could be suggested, an earlier one. Let's make an example. If you requested a business plan development, but then during the introductory call with the expert, you agree with the expert that perhaps you are not fully ready to benefit from a business plan development, the expert can suggest you to request Service 1, Module C, and then to benefit from the business plan development. Everything, of course, is agreed among the service team appointed and the project beneficiary. At the end of the service, feedback questionnaires are requested to be filled out by the beneficiaries, and those are completely anonymous. Outputs, deliverables, final reports, whatever is saved in a dedicated workspace in the platform, and this is accessible only to the appointed service team and the beneficiaries. Automatic alerts are sent out by the platform at any stage of the service delivery. Some numbers so far, just to give you an idea of how big is this Horizon Results Booster so far. So we started in July 2020, and the program is up and running till 2024. So far, we have actively engaged 150 experts, 738 projects for more than 500 assignments, more than 1,300 beneficiaries registered in the platform, involving 4,000 organizations. You have as well a snapshot of the type of services which are currently ongoing and completed. And last information in this presentation is the type of projects which are applying to the Horizon Results Booster. Of course, we are not surprised to see that research and innovation actions have the bigger number there, but as you can see, there is a long list of different actions which are, successfully benefiting from the Horizon Results Booster. And therefore, you have no excuses. If you feel that this is the right program for you to support your dissemination and exploitation, please submit your application. And now I'm giving the floor to our first testimonial. I'm giving the floor to Martina Fantini, research scientist and research manager for Clinker project, coordinated by LEAP. Clinker project has, the experience of benefiting of 4 different HRB services. And therefore, I'm giving now the floor to Martina. Please, Martina.
Hi everybody. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen already?
Yes, Martina.
Okay, thanks Alessia also for the presentation. So I just go to the point. I'm involved in Clinker project. Clinker is a pen because it's clean clinker production by calcium looping process, where clinker written with an I is the main constituent of cement. So the project itself is the goal is advancing the integrated calcium looping technology for CO2 capture in cement plants. And the project started in 2017. Up to now, we have already built the demonstrator in Vernasca that is close to Piacenza, that is close to Milan. So we have built this demonstrator in the Buzzi Unicem cement plant that is one of the partners of the Clinker project. You can see the cement plant on the right and the position of the cement plant on the left. The demonstrator is at the TRL7, so we are demonstrating indeed in industrial environment, treating 1% of the flue gases of the rotary kiln. Of course, we have a lot of activities that are shown in the scheme here on the left. modeling and experimental campaigns, etc. And of course, as it's a TRL 7, we have a strong focus on scale up and exploitation. And Work Package 8 is completely dedicated to indeed the exploitation strategy. As mentioned, the project started at the end of 2017. It was supposed to run 4 years, but due to the pandemic situation, we asked an extension. So now the end of the project is planned for spring 2022. It's a research and innovation action, so it's funded for 100%, and we have the participation of 13 partners, 5 EU member states, plus Switzerland and China. The project is coordinated by LEAP, Laboratory of Energy and Environment Piacenza, that is a research center participated by Politecnico di Milano, that is also part of the consortium. We have the end user Buzzi Unicem and Italcementi, part of Heidelberg Cement Group. We have the technology provider AKN and the BDZ. And we have then also an environmental association, Amici della Terra, and other research centers and university. I like to show you these pictures. So here you can see the cement plant before our intervention. On the right, you can see the carbonator, that is one of the reactors that constitute the core, the focus of our technologies. And then on the left side of the heating tower, the preheating tower where the demonstrator is installed, you can see the calciner. So calciner and carbonator are the 2 reactors that make the calcium looping effect in this plant. Let's go to the Horizon Results Booster, that is of course the focus of today. I show this also the pictures of the clinker demo plant because everything started with this for us. I mean, we had for the first time, at least for me, a project with so high TRL, and a project where one work package was totally dedicated to exploitation. So it was something not new, not completely new, but new to manage. And in a meeting organized by INEA, that is now Cinea, a few years ago, I saw a flyer on of this service that was called SEREN, now it's called Horizon Research Booster, and I decided to apply. For the first service, we had a very positive experience, so we applied also for the Horizon Research Booster. The service available, as shown by Alessia a few minutes ago, were the dissemination, module A, B, C, dissemination and exploitation, business plan development, and go-to-market. Basically 1 year ago, because we applied in summer 2020, we applied and we were accepted for module C, assisting the project to improve the existing exploitation strategy, business plan development, and module A, identifying and creating the portfolio for research and innovation project results for clinker project. Just a bit of history, but I go quite fast. So we started with the module C. At the beginning of September, we had a first call with the experts of the service. And at the end of September, we had an internal meeting with the actors of the Work Package 8 of Clinker dedicated to exploitation to decide what were for us the most important key exploitable results to be discussed during the seminar made available by this service. In particular, we had identified two care: how to implement clinker technology in retrofitted cement plants, and what that was for us a care, but then the experts outlined that it was not, how to explain the clinker process to potential customers, because I talk about two reactors, carbonator and calciner. Calcium looping, it's a very complicated technology to explain. It's not so easy to explain, also for the people who are committed and work in cement plant. So this is also our topic, to try to explain correctly the technology. Anyhow, between October and December 2020, we had an exploitation strategy seminar where the expert introduced some topics, also a sentence that it's quite simple, but that now, at least for me, is cast in stone, because amazing project results do not mean amazing impact. And this is the first thought to develop then our discussion to make these projects successful. And the other point that highlighted by the expert is also that after 5 years from the end of the project, the European Commission can use the results obtained within the project. So it is important also to have a clear vision and consensus on the exploitation strategy and beyond the project end. So this made us thinking about an amendment of the consortium agreement. For me, to write a consortium agreement was basically to take the DESCA model, adjust it to the requirements of the project, and then to maybe amend for some particular reasons. But this was the first time that someone made me think about the fact that the consortium agreement is important also beyond of the project, and to avoid any argument during and after the project, it's very important to face with exploitation issue within this document. Then the second day for this service, the exploitation strategy seminar, we worked all together on the key exploitable result that we have identified. So basically how to implement clinker technology in retrofitted cement plants. There was here I copy paste some tables that we have to work at, so to identify the problem, the alternative solution, the unique selling point, and the unique value proposition related to our technology, our market target, etc. Then you will have the slides so you can have a look. Then we had to score some risks that were listed in the table here, and the total score was to understand if this risk was under control, if we had to take action, or things like that. And at the end of the service, there was also a draft of the exploitation roadmap that was better than described in the service for business plan development. We had also a report written by the experts that we are still using and taking inspiration for our meetings. Then for the business plan development, we started in January. February a seminar for all the consortium, explaining how the business plan works, and what is a lean canvas. That is basically a tool that can help us in crucial activities. That there was an internal group that worked on the maturity map of our technology, the business plan structure. So again, working on these points that you can see in the table related to our project and technology. The exploitation roadmap that I mentioned before was better detailed, and also the lean canvas. We worked at the lean canvas that it's very useful also to prepare materials to be discussed during the meeting, and that make us focus on crucial aspects like identifying problems that novel solution is addressing, or who are the key people who feel this problem more, etc. And so work then with this background to the exploitable solution. This is a screenshot of our meeting, and then also for this service we got this report on business plan development. Last year in September, so at the same time, we started also module A that is related to dissemination. So the first service worked for 35 days. And the goal was to define a project group for CCUS cluster, carbon capture, utilization and storage, interested to apply then to module B. There were a few projects on the table highlighted by the expert of the services, and at the end the project group was formed, and the actors are Clinker, of course, Realize, coordinated by SINTEF in Norway, and C4U, coordinated by University College in London. I go to the last slide. So we are now in the module B service that is ongoing. It started at the end of July and it will last 120 days. The goal in this module, we really do something in concrete, because the goal is to select 2 dissemination expert packages to implement as a project group. The dissemination expert packages are listed here below. So strategic guidance, copywriting, communicating to policy and decision makers, event support, or social media presence. What we have done up to now within module B is that the expert realized with our support, but they realized for us a video that I will show just after this slide, a flyer, print and web version. Here you can see, of course, the facilities of C4U and for Clinker. And we have selected the 2 dissemination expert packages that are for us write a document, a policy brief document for policymakers, and to organize an event with the support of this service. So just also this afternoon, we have an internal meeting to update us on the status of this policy brief document. So then I will show the video if there is time. This Horizon Research Booster is for sure challenging because it's time consuming. We have the support of the expert, but we have to dedicate time to work with them in order to reach the goal. But in my experience, it's absolutely powerful because it helped me and Clinker to learn a lot about transversal aspect that maybe for researchers are not so focused in this, at least in my experience, valorize our project and the synergies also with the others, and realize really something in concrete, and have a vision on what can happen beyond the project we are carrying out. So I don't know if there is time for the video.
We are running a bit late, Martina.
Okay, sorry. So I try to be concise, but synthesis is not a gift that you gave to me.
I can imagine. Thank you very much, Martina, for sharing with us your experience. I'm now giving the floor to Nicholas Ferguson from Trust IT, partner of the HRB consortium dealing with the dissemination services. He's as well one of our senior experts, and he will explain you more in details about the dissemination services, and then his intervention will be followed as well with a testimonial, a project beneficiary. And so, please, Nick, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alessia. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
okay.
Perfect.
Jolly good. Thank you very much, and thank you for the introduction. And thank you as well for that excellent overview from Martina. We worked with CleanCare, and we still are working with CleanCare, and it's a very interesting group that we have there. So my name's Nicholas Ferguson, and I work for Trust IT Services. We're an SME based in Italy, in Pisa in Italy, and I'm going to be joined later by Kevin Mallin from the GeoDrill project. This is one of the projects and part of one of the project groups that we've worked with in the delivery of Module A and Module B, which is part of Service 1. So you'll hear the word project group mentioned a lot, because these two services, or these two modules, are focused on collaboration for dissemination. So in a moment, I'll give you a very quick overview of the two modules. We'll discuss also, I'll mention some reasons why you would want to do dissemination jointly with other projects, and then we'll go deeper into the two modules, Module A and Module B, and then we'll be speaking to Kevin at the end to get his insight and his experience. Just to say that modules A and B are delivered by two companies, Trust IT for who I work, and Icons as well. Now, we're both organizations which specialize in dissemination, in particular for research projects, and also marketing in general. So, you know, these are things that we do every day. In particular for Trust IT, we work in the field, in particular of ICT, but, you know, we work on a lot of coordination support actions, for example, where we bring together projects from a unit or under a common theme. So we also delivered the pilot service on dissemination before the Horizon Results Booster, called the Common Dissemination Booster. So, you know, we've got plenty of experience in delivering these services. So first, let's just get a quick overview of what's on the table here. So these modules are really focusing on getting projects together and identifying areas on which they can collaborate for joint dissemination activities. Module A lasts for around 1 month, and here we identify projects which are relevant, or perhaps have similarities in the types of results they have, or in the types of stakeholders that they are targeting. We engage with the projects, and we try to get as many together to join conference calls and actually form a group. And we provide a document with a set of recommendations on how they could collaborate together. Module B, we'll discuss in detail in a moment. Module B is a bit more juicy, and it's like Martina says, this is where you do something concrete. So you come out at the end with a tangible output. Here we deliver, we support you on delivering the recommendations we've provided you in Module A. We put together a plan, a joint dissemination plan, and we provide support on delivering joint dissemination activities. And we'll be showing you a couple of these in a moment. These could be, you know, joint webinar. It could be a joint recommendations document too. The service lasts for 120 days. And there's a lot of benefits for projects and project groups here. who are they designed for, these modules? Well, they're designed for anybody who works in a project, and in particular, anybody who works in dissemination. So we're thinking here of project coordinators. They're often the people who make the applications first, but also dissemination managers who you know, have a lot of things to do. And we can provide, you know, support to them on activities which are perhaps difficult for them to deliver. We also deal with a lot of researchers or people who work on these projects who are perhaps given the task of managing communications and disseminations, and perhaps feel a little bit ill-equipped to do so because it's not within their normal experience. And who's applied so far? Well, we've had, as Alessia said, we have many different projects. And these range from projects who contact us because they're looking for new synergies. They want help in forming a group. So we go and do that for them. We do the desktop research and we try to identify projects with commonalities. It could be projects who have already got some collaborations going on or have some agreements with other projects and they want support in actually doing something concrete. It could be projects from the same call. Maybe the project officer has recommended that you do something together, like a joint event or gather together recommendations, for example. And it could be even projects from the same institute. So we have you know, an institute applying. They have 4 or 5 projects working in near enough the same field, so we support them. And then also established clusters, established groups of projects. You know, these range in size. And again, they have our support in delivering something concrete, which perhaps they're not covering at the moment. So let's just take a step back. Dissemination is, of course, around results. So it's promoting and getting out information about the results to the target stakeholders that the project is focusing on. So this could be anyone. It could be an industry, as we heard just now. It could be research, it could be policymakers, it could be SMEs, it could be other researchers. The other thing to note is that you know, this is a requirement for projects, and results vary. They could be industrial services, they could be recommendations, they could be software, they could be a wide range of things. So, you know, we're not only looking at you know, practical solutions, we're also looking at recommendations as well. Of course, clustering and collaboration is a key aspect for the European Commission, and the HRB supports this. It forms groups, and we hope the reuse of results, which is a key feature of Commission policy. We foster sharing of knowledge between projects, more than perhaps is possible at the moment with the current pandemic and the difficulty in having physical events. So we provide an avenue for the sharing of information about results that you wouldn't probably find on a project website. We can also support you to activate dissemination channels which are perhaps underused, and also to leverage each other's networks and reaches so that you can create greater impact together and have a stronger voice. And we've got a couple of examples of how project groups have done this. As Martina said, having amazing results doesn't necessarily mean or translate into having amazing impact. So hopefully with the HRB, we provide support to do this. So if we look at Module A, just very quickly, we'll go over some details here. So here we identify a group of projects. This whole module is about forming a group, sharing information about the results of the group, and sharing information about the projects themselves. We try to identify a group of projects with commonalities and similarities between them, and we put together we gather information from the projects with a questionnaire, and we put together a document in which we list the various results, we identify the target stakeholders of each of the projects, and basically the commonalities, the challenges they're addressing and how they're doing it, and the challenges they have in dissemination as well. So at the end of the module, you receive a recommendations document, which is basically information, detailed information about each project, which we gather via a questionnaire and also desktop research. And we provide a set of recommendations on how we think that you could collaborate together in the future. Of course, engagement with the main applicant in the project is important. We want to speak to you. There's no point in us recommending something you have no interest in doing. So we try to obviously gauge as much as we can from the projects involved. The effort from your side is relatively small. It's a case of speaking to us on a conference call and responding to a questionnaire. The bulk of the work is done by us here. So this is a nice introduction to establish ways in which a project group could collaborate together for the mutual benefit of all projects. As I say, this lasts for around 35 calendar days, and our intention is really to get you to apply for Module B, which we'll look at now. So Module B is a bit more juicy, a bit more meaty in terms of tangible outputs at the end. We work together with the group, which has already been established, and we co-design a joint dissemination plan. So we put together a timeline of activities based on what the group wants to be. So we have a discussion on a phone call with you, and we decide where you want to work. We have a number of packages you can see listed in the bullet points there, which are kind of like the end product of Module B, which could be a policy brief, it could be an event, it could be a social media campaign, or it could be a results portfolio which is delivered online. We also early on in the service provide you with a common identity, which we'll talk about in a moment. And there's an element of training here. So, we don't just deliver the service and disappear. Hopefully the people working on it can also learn something and apply this to their future dissemination activities. And we hope that you also continue with the collaboration beyond the support that we provide. So first thing we do is give you something practical that the group can use. Okay, this comes in the form of a flyer or a fact sheet like Martina showed before, and this really provides information on the results of the project group. It highlights the target stakeholders and the impact that the results will have on them. And it's very, very, this is the intention here is to communicate that there is a group of projects which are collaborating and which are disseminating the results together and the impact that these results will have on target stakeholders. This is provided in digital and print-ready format, so it's something that you could use immediately on your website, or also if you're lucky enough to go to a physical event, at a physical event. The second one is a video pill. Now these are really nice, and we have a nice collection on our YouTube channel. And these are, again, focused on the main results that the group, the projects in the group have worked on, and it highlights the impact of these projects. These are perfect for all the projects to use on their own individual websites, and it's also perfect for you all to use on your social media channels. So the idea is, with a collective message, with visibility for all of the projects in the group, you can get benefit as well. You can have people visiting your websites thanks to this, and thanks to the joint dissemination activity through these two outputs. So these are very practical things that we provide as part of the service very early on, so that you can go and actually use them. As I said, there's an element of training. We encourage people to get better, if you like. The training is extremely practical. It's delivered online, so you can do this in your own time, and it's delivered in 3 separate packages as well, which look at strategy, so planning, dissemination, and identifying stakeholders, etc., and clear, achievable objectives. And then the training package on operations is extremely practical. So this is based on our everyday experience of working in dissemination. There's lots of different channels you can see, from social media to promotional videos and how to make them. There's information about various tools that you could use, online tools. So, the impetus here is on practical support to people completing the training. And then finally, monitoring. So, making sure you're reaching your KPIs for your projects in particular. So this has direct impact on the work you're doing in your projects, and you get a nice certificate at the end of it to say that you've completed it. The material is standard, but it's also tailored to the groups. So there's an assignment element here as well, where we tailor the assignment to what the group is actually doing. Now, finally, these packages, the dissemination packages. Now, there are 6 I'm going to talk about. Project groups can choose, we say a maximum of 2, but you can also just do 1 if you like. The first one is the creation of a policy brief, as I said. Policymakers are often, one of the main target holders for all projects, and very often projects say these are the most difficult people to communicate to or disseminate their results to. So working with the Commission in the pilot of the HRB, we came up with a template where you have a very strict amount of space to write. You have 5 pages, and you provide an overview of the challenge that you're facing, and maximum of 5 recommendations to deliver. So this is a short document, purposefully short, because it's difficult, obviously, for policymakers to be reading 60-page deliverables. Now, the point here is, though, that you may have a number of recommendations in different deliverables documents, and you can reference them here. So again, it's a channel to get people to visit your results. We support you in the delivery of these, in the sharpening your messages, and also in the graphical delivery of these too. These are unique because the HRB is unique in terms of gathering groups of projects together, and these give a nice insight for the Commission or policymakers on the future. Another popular one, extremely popular one, is of course webinars and event support. And we just mentioned Klinker, and we'll talk a little bit about GeoDrill in a moment, the two examples. But here I'd like to talk about a group of 5 projects which work in EU-India collaboration and water management. And thanks to HRB, basically, we supported them in making an application to the Green Week. The weight of having 4 projects in this 5 projects in the application meant they were successful, and they delivered a successful workshop together at the Green Week with a large number of participants attending. So this was a very nice output and something that all the projects were able to report on. The next one I'd like to highlight is copywriting and content creation. So this could range from, for example, based on the portfolio that you've created, we've identified for you. This could be a landing page, for example, which is managed by hosted by one of the projects or individually. And this provides, a place where, if you're targeting, for example, businesses, you could have a very business-oriented or service-oriented overview of the various results that your project group have. Another idea, and the option which I've got on the right here, the example, sorry, I have on the right, is a booklet, again, where you gather together the main outputs of your project. And this was in the area of urban mobility in neighborhoods. So it's a very nice little booklet we were able to work with the project in delivering. The next area is social media presence. This is often something which is quite difficult for projects to maintain and create impact around, but you can create, large communities through social media if you use them often and regularly. So we provide support in even setting up these channels, and also managing a campaign directly by creating content for the campaign. So that, again, this is very, very practical, and includes also monitoring of this for a period of time. Finally, something we see is also quite popular is actually, organizing a group, having a flow of information between the project groups. It's quite difficult to form a group. Often nobody really wants to manage it. And we've successfully done this with a number of groups where we've acted as kind of secretarial role to make sure that the objectives of the group are met. There's regular phone calls, there's regular, people are chased up on their tasks, for example. So, making sure that everything is delivered. Finally, there's a customized package where you can do little bits of all of the five packages I've just described, but personally, I think it's better to focus on one or two rather than spread your effort across too much. So these are the main dissemination packages, as they're called. The slides will be shared later, but here are some of the testimonials we received. The general message here is that the activities that the project groups have delivered wouldn't probably have been delivered if it wasn't for this service that the Commission is providing. So that's the main takeaway. All of the projects involved can report on it in their reporting, And personally, I think when you go to a project review and you report on the fact that you've made a collaboration with 5 other projects and you've delivered a recommendations document and a joint webinar, then the only response from your reviewers can be positive, because, you know, collaboration and not working alone is really what is expected from many projects. So with that, I'd like to invite Kevin Mallon to turn on his microphone and his camera. Kevin, are you there?
I'm here, Nick.
Hello, Kevin.
Good morning.
Good to see you. So Kevin is one of the people who's benefited from the Horizon Results Booster and these modules A and B. His project GeoDrill has completed module A, and they're in the middle of doing module B. So Kevin, I wondered if you'd like to just give a little bit of background to the GeoDrill project and why you came about to apply for the HRB.
Thank you, Nick, and thanks to everyone from HRB for getting us involved. And just to let you know, it's the first time I've worn a tie for 18 months. The pandemic is hopefully behind us. I think the main reasons, because we work totally in the subsurface with geothermal, getting our message across and probably internally understanding the message that we're trying to get across is quite important and much more difficult than people realize, even people within the group. We're all experts in our own field, but we're not experts in every field. So I think it's quite important to interact. And I think Martina showed before, you know, very hugely technical subject that they're working there with the cement and how that can be relayed to people such as myself. You know, I'm very interested now in following up on the Clean Care project. So that dissemination process internally and to external stakeholders, I think has proved very, very useful for the projects that we're doing. And we're involved, I mean, GeoDrill and OptiDrill, which are my direct projects, are looking at improving the delivery of drilling technology to reduce costs of geothermal. And then we have GeoHex, GeoSmart, GeoPro within our project group, which are, once we have these geothermal resources, how we can best extend the life of plants, the equipment that goes in the ground. So working together, and the way that Trust IT in particular, and I'm very, very grateful for Trust IT and the HRB project in general, is how they pull all these things together for us. And certainly the 60-second video pill that they produced for us was just astounding. So you know, I'm an old skeptic, and I was just the wow factor was just there. I mean, anybody who doesn't know anything about geothermal or didn't before, you know, that 60-second video would just introduce you to everything about it, and you know, you'll just want to find more out more.
That's good. That's great, Kevin. Thank you very much. So I wondered, so the projects in the group had they worked together before you applied for the Horizon Results Booster? Because there's 5 of them. So were you applying to get support to do something concrete? Maybe you discussed collaboration, but saw this as an opportunity to actually deliver on this.
Yes, and there were some commonalities amongst the group. Certain members, you know, of the consortiums came into other sections of the project group in a crossover. But you know, what we were finding is, you know, we would be doing some research and someone would say, oh, well, that's been done in there, and you know, we were finding that there was probably a repeat in some of the work that was going on. So HRB group, when they pulled us together and we started looking more closely at our results, etc., that, you know, we realized that we could probably sort of shrink in some of these skill sets for a better outcome, and that certainly has, well, to me, because I'm a drilling specialist and that's all I am a specialist in, but seeing how these other things pull together, the HRB and our project group now, I think it's made it a much more valuable outcome.
Yeah, so with this group in particular, we identified there were many results from in the original portfolio, but we drilled down to, excuse the pun, we drilled down to two, which were basically areas, so broad areas which all of the projects were delivering on. And then we identified the common stakeholders that the projects were wanting to focus on. And then as part of Module B, we've delivered the video, which we're talking about now, and this first level fact sheet or flyer, which captures the importance of geothermal energy as a sustainable resource. And I think this is one of the challenges your projects have in terms of making policymakers realize the importance of geothermal energy as a renewable energy source. Is that right? And is this why then one of the next steps is to write a policy brief with recommendations around that?
Nick, you couldn't have put it better. I mean, even this morning I was listening to the radio here in the UK where our Prime Minister announces he wants by 2035, all energy to come from renewable sources. Yet there was no mention of geothermal. And yet, as a baseload 24/7 provider of energy, geothermal is probably the lowest carbon emitter there. So we need to be reaching out to those people that make these policies. And I think with the HRB modules, and we are going to present hopefully at the European Geothermal Energy Conference next year, we want to be pitching at those people who, you know, make energy policy. And the one thing that's very interesting about geothermal is it has two forms of energy that can both be used depending on the resource. We can either provide just heat, or we can combine power and heat. And when you look at 60% of energy usage is probably for heating and cooling, and the electricity demand is much more now for technology, electric vehicles, which is going to take a huge demand for electricity production. We need to be thinking about how we deliver energy, and we need to make people understand that they're sitting on a huge energy resource, i.e. geothermal, and we need to make those who make policy. And we all know governments change, you know, in the UK, we vote every 4 years, elsewhere it's a similar routine. So getting these policies that sometimes take 6 to 10 years to take from concept through to delivery, we need this constant picking away at those that make policy. And the HRB, the work that we've done with the HRB and Trust IT in particular, it has, you know, we've been able to focus where our efforts within our project group need to be to get that across to the policymakers. You know, lots of people on this call who into geothermal and energy, renewable energy, will understand that, but there's lots of people who don't. So that's been very beneficial to us to work on that, Nick.
That's great. Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you for your kind words and your overview. I can see Alessia turning on her screen, so
I'm off to take
just
my
to say, you know, yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. Just to say, you know, please follow us. You know, we have an active Twitter channel, and you can also see the videos here on the YouTube channel as well. And you can see a selection of these too. So I think they're very, very nice little outputs that we've been able to deliver. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Thank you very much, Kevin, for sharing with us your experience. Now I'm giving the floor for the first presentation on the exploitation services. I'm giving the floor to Andrea Di Anselmo from Meta Group. He's one of our senior experts. And then his presentation will be followed by our testimonial beneficiary project, in this case, Alejandro Marquez from the Ocean 2G project. So Andrea, please, the floor is yours.
Good morning to everybody. Alessia, is everything fine with video and audio?
Video and audio, yes, but I still cannot see your presentation on. So.
Yes, it's coming now. Is the presentation there?
Not really.
I should.
Now it's coming.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
Fantastic. My duty is to guide you through the Module C of Service 1, which is about exploitation, meaning how to use results. As Martina said, and that was very interesting, not all amazing results create an amazing impact. And the main reason is that if a result is not used, no impact is going to be generated. So Service 1 Module C is all about working together with the partners in order to better understand how to steer, use, and make sure that impact happens. So the hero, the center of the service, is the key exploitable result. You have heard this term care several times through Martina's presentation and the Kevin presentation. Care is not just one of the many results. Is a result which has been selected by the partners because it responds to a specific need, to a specific demand of a well-defined group of customers. And you can see customers is in brackets because use, exploitation, and Service 1 Module C is not just for high tier level results that aim at, let's say, commercialization, but it's also for low tier results where use is at stake. And of course, a key exploitable result is a result that is also selected by the partners because they are committed either to use it or to introduce it to market, to use it directly or indirectly, or to bring it as a commercial product to the market. And of course, the result could be anything, as been highlighted several times, from a new product, a new training course, a new policy input, but even as the input for some new research. So what we need to know in order to make the most out of Service 1 Module C. Service 1 Module C is all built around a seminar, the Exploitation Strategy Seminar, which is an important event, an important opportunity for the partnership to discuss about exploitation. Our experience, my experience, myself, I delivered through the last years more than 100 of similar services. This is the only opportunity for project partners to sit together and discuss about exploitation and use for their key exploitable results. So it's a core, brings a lot of added value to the partnership, to the project. The actual seminar keeps the partners busy, I would say, for one day. And of course, it can be split into days. We will see this later on. Everybody is more than welcome to participate. But of course, the care owners, the coordinator, and the exploitation team are warmly, let's say, suggested to be there. In terms of timing, as it was said before, this is the entry point to start discussing about use and also to pave the way to dissemination. So it's, let's say, better to be organized before the midterm of a project life. As it was said before, the sooner the better. And as soon as there is a clear idea on the key exploitable results. And it has a focus at maximum on 3 key exploitable results. So part of the preparation is also related to the prioritization and selection of the key exploitable results. Of course, it's also an opportunity to learn about a process, a methodology, a way to look at results and use that can be applied to all the other results of the project. So the fact that together with the expert, we will all work on just maximum 3 key exploitable results is not limiting, but it's, let's say, a good way to learn by doing and get a methodology and be prepared for the rest. The outcome, the result is a report prepared by the expert containing the result of the discussion, making it available for everybody, and providing also recommendation on next steps. Again, this is better to be organized during the midterm of the project life. And one of the key responsibility of the expert is also to guide the partnership, guide the project through the next half of the project life, providing recommendation on how to better address exploitation. You will find your characterization table. Martina provided a hint on that, which is helping you to better describe the results, the cares that have been discussed, and also to provide important inputs for your dissemination activity in terms also of target groups, priority map highlighting the risks, and the exploitation roadmap, which is an extremely important document that helps the partnership to focus and discuss on next steps needed to be performed after the end of the project. The approach for the seminar is, of course, not on the scientific dimension. The assumption is that you are excellent scientists. You are the leading edge in technology. So this is not anything to be discussed, but it's on what needs to be organized and put in practice in order to make sure that the result is used with a problem-oriented, we say, demand-driven approach, starting from the challenge you are addressing with your solution, with your result. And of course, the main challenge is also how to increase the TRL after the end of the project, knowing that this is the most important problem, barrier, because after the end of the project is also when the partnership lacks of resources. Planning this, it's the first step in order to ensure use. And then, of course, we focus on some key elements of use, the unique value proposition. Martina highlighted how important this is, the use model, how you're going to make customers in bracket using your results, your novel solution, your innovation, either in a direct way within the partnership or in an indirect way, facilitating use, for example, through licensing, through education, through training, and then also helping you out in identified yearly adopters, the ones who are going to use your solution as first, which at the end of the day are the target audience for disseminations. So objectives is to sit down, better understand what is the relationship in between impact, key exploitable results, and their use. And I would say this is going to be extremely important for the ones who are willing to apply to Horizon Europe, where, of course, impact, it's even more important that in Horizon 2020, having in mind that also the concept of outcomes has been introduced, and then sit down and focus on the selected key exploitable results, thinking at the problem address, the alternative solutions, how the problem owners are trying to solve them, unique value proposition, how better we are than alternative solutions with our novel solution, and the use model, how we are going to make this available in order to broaden impact. And then, of course, risks, not related to the scientific advancement, but risks related to use and going to market, and the exploitation roadmap. So just to give you an idea of how time is allocated during the ESS, 1 hour to introduce the key concept. And we suggest to have this 1 hour, for example, the day before the seminar. If the seminar is going to be organized during a consortium meeting, it is to have this 1 hour when partnership discuss about advancement of the works. And then the second day fully devoted to a discussion of key exploitable results, discussion that, as you can say, at the end of the day, if we are working with 3 key exploitable results, takes the whole day. To sum it up, this service starts with the appointment of your expert, which is going to contact you in order to arrange a phone call to understand what your expectations are, understand state of the art, and understand how to customize the support. The expert will work on a specific agenda for the meeting, usually, as I explained, to be done alongside with a consortium meeting or in any other date being virtually. Then there is a preparatory stage to collect inputs from the partners and from the key owners in order to provide you with a preliminary report that will be the guide for the discussion at the seminar. We want participants to be prepared in order to face the internal discussion in a very efficient and effective way. And the preliminary report provides questions to be answered and recommendations for the discussion itself. Then we have the seminar, the structure, you already seen it. And after the seminar, the expert will collect additional inputs from the partners and prepare the final report, which is the main result, allowing the partnership to have a clear guide in order to face next steps in their exploitation process, in better implementing their exploitation work packages, being ready to face the first 6 months after the end of the project in order to make sure that that the results are used. Again, no use, no impact, And this is going to be even more important with Horizon Europe. So this is my brief introduction on Service 1 Module C. Service 1 Module C, which is, let's say, the introduction also for Service 2, which is the business plan development service made available by Horizon Results Booster. As the name clearly explains, this is a service made available to help the consortium in having a structured and complete business or exploitation plan. We tend to define, everybody is familiar with a business plan when it goes to something that is facing or preparing to commercialization, but not, as we said, results as future use commercialization. And in this case, we speak about exploitation plan. If your key result is a policy recommendation, as Kevin said, it takes time for the recommendation to be taken and become a piece of legislation. And you need to plan steps in a clear way. If your results can be used for standardization activities, it takes time in order to your inputs to be consolidated into a new standard or to contribute to the update of an existing standard. This calls for a clear planning of activities in order that the partners are able to perform them after the project ends. Exploitation and use always take place after the end of the project. And again, Horizon Europe, with the concept of outcomes, clearly identify this crucial step. The support is customized according to the maturity of the result is selected, one result, and of course, the business plan development service is for a single project, it's not a service targeting project groups. So if there is already a business plan available, then the expert will work with the consortium to review the current business plan and prepare the implementation roadmap, paving the way to the next steps. And of course, we provide recommendations for the finalization of the business plan. If, and this can happen, a draft is not available, then the expert will support the consortium and the partnership in identifying how to structure the business plan, what is the information to be collected and validated. We'll guide them in the discussion of the use model or the business model, and of course, provide recommendations for the finalization of the business or the exploitation plan during the project life. What we need to keep in mind for a single project, for a single key exploitable result, and the Service 1 Module C can help in selecting which is the key exploitable result to focus on with the business plan development service. Better if organized after the midterm of a project life, when the partnership starts to enter into the discussion of the preparation of the business or exploitation plan. The overall delivery takes for a couple of months. And of course, everybody is invited, even if, I mean, the most important people to be part of the partnership of the seminar is the care owner, the coordinator, and of course, the exploitation team. Final report, also in this case, is the result. It's the added value because it provides you with inputs for your plan, which are the result of the discussion, the characterization table, the link canvas, the value proposition canvas, the exploitation roadmap, and of course, the recommendations. Just to give you a glimpse on how the service is structured, how the expert will spend the 2 months with you. There is a first step, which is related to the preparation. And here where the maturity assessment comes in, the customization of the service delivery comes in, and the, let's say, sharing of tools and guidelines is obtained so that all participants are able to contribute in the most efficient way. Central core part is the delivery based on a webinar on Link Canvas, which is one of the key tools used for this service. And Martin already explained how important this was for them. And I can say this is usually the most appreciated tool from the projects benefiting from the service. And then there is going to be a business plan development workshop, which is a whole day devoted to the discussion of the business planning process, the review of the Link Canvas, discussing on revenue streams and costs, which is in most of the cases, the most important barrier for the projects to identify and discuss what is going to happen next. The unique value proposition, which is a key part of the dissemination messages and also of the pitch, and of course, using the unique value proposition canvas. Then there is a last step, which is connected to the final discussion and interaction on the outcomes of the preparatory and delivery steps with some more vertical discussion on user and business models, financial needs, commercial channels, next steps, all to be consolidated in the report, which also guide you in order to access further services and access funding. To give you an idea how the workshop works, here is an agenda. As you can see, again, it takes the whole day, ending in the afternoon, and covering the different key steps that are needed to be considered when preparing a business plan, from the planning during the project life and the planning after the project life. So just to sum up, when the project starts with appointment of the expert arranges a call with the project coordinator, the exploitation manager, in order to fine-tune the service, also according to the maturity of the project, collects data, and then with the partnership, there is the preparatory stage with the discussion of the Link Canvas, the preparation of the preliminary report in order to set the ground for the workshop where things will be discussed and deepened, and then the preparation of the final report. So this is what I wanted to say, and it's my pleasure now to introduce my testimonial, Alejandro Marquez from Ocean 2G. Alejandro, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, Andrea. Thank you very much for the introduction and for your great explanation about the program. Please let me know if you can see my presentation.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alessia. Yeah, so well, we at Magallanes Renovables, we participated in the portfolio dissemination and exploitation strategy with the Horizon Results Booster. And first, I'm gonna make a quick introduction of what we do. So basically, at Magallanes Renovables, we identified a new source of renewable energy that is really not exploited at an industrial level. So what is tidal energy, right? So when the tides rise and fall, what's happening is that there's a gravitational pull from the moon and the sun on the oceans. And this creates, this gravitational pull makes the oceans to expand. And huge masses of water have to go through straits or in between islands. And at these points, due to the Venturi effect, the water accelerates and creates really, really strong currents. This happens all over the world, but in Europe, it happens in between the Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea. So it's in the north coast of France, and of course, in between the UK, in the north of the UK. Also in the Mediterranean Ocean, in the Gibraltar Strait, or in Italy, for example, in the Messina Strait. So this resource of energy is enormous. So it could potentially generate 390 gigawatts worldwide. It is 100% predictable, because we can, the same way we can predict the movement of the sun and the moon, we can also predict we have tidal charts that can predict the tides with 10 or 20 years in advance. Also, this moving water has a lot of energy. So if we compare it with wind energy, is 800 times more dense water than air. So we can extract more energy with smaller devices. And of course, the most important part is clean and 100% renewable. So of course, being such a great resource, we're not the first ones who have tried to exploit it. Many companies before us have tried to do that, and they have focused on very complex machines, mostly submerged systems that would that in the end were too expensive to maintain, and therefore it was very difficult to carry on at an industrial level. So we knew how to tackle this issue, and the way we did so is with the philosophy of using the technology that is on the market already. So even though we are technology developers, we want to focus we want to develop the least technology as possible. So we had to look on the market of what was off the shelf, right? So basically we focused on two mature technologies, which is the windmill industry and the naval industry, two sectors, of course, very strong in Europe and with lots of experience worldwide. And the way we combined these two sectors was in the simplest way possible, which is installing a windmill, well, in this case, two windmills under a boat. So in the picture you see on the right, you see that the upper deck of the boat, of the platform, has all the machinery that we go, all the electrical components that we go in a windmill. And down below in the hull, in the nacelle, we have basically what would be the powertrain of two windmills. The system is very robust because it relies on naval capabilities, and of course we can rely on all the machinery that's inside the system because it comes from mature technologies. So we minimize the technology risk absolutely. We are a small company, and well, here you can see how the system works. So the blades counter-rotate to give stability to the system, and we have the least moving parts as possible to minimize costs and maintenance. So as you can see, we have identified a resource and found a solution. But being a small company, we focused mainly on the technology. So we are a deep technology company, and that's what we have done for the past 13 years of development. But now that we are reaching commerciability, we have found ourselves that, of course, all the technological advancements that we have made are thought to penetrate the market, but we haven't really up until participating in the Horizon Results Booster, we didn't really work in a systematic way on the exploitation.
Alejandro,
so that's why, yes, Andrea.
Can you just give us the few final remarks on your experience on the service and on the booster, so that everybody can appreciate the added value of these services?
Yes, of course.
30 seconds.
I'm getting there in the next slide. So if I just go to the next slide, of course I can. Well, but I can of course explain before. Our experience was great. So as I said, we did need we needed a systematic approach to the commercialization and to exploitation of our technology, and yes, following the Horizon Results Booster, we began with a seminar, as you explained, Andrea. Here we got to know our coach, who was Gustavo. He's fantastic, and he really understood our needs and the situation in which we found ourselves. And we began working. We started with the curse identification. So here, something as simple as defining the unique value proposition, or the unique selling point, is something that of course any company should have done, but being so technological focused, we hadn't. So Gustavo really guided us to this process, and we identified a unique selling point in which we had to focus within our technology. Then we analyzed, of course, the risks. And this activity was great because it was a very interesting activity, because we had to identify all the risks that we of course had in our minds, but we had never put on paper, and giving them a value. The platform generated this chart which explained which risk we had, and of course we, as you can see in the chart, we found that we have no extreme risks. So none of our dots are on the warning or action chart, but many of them, and most of them, are on the control chart. So we have to, and we have had since then, kept an eye on these risks, especially concerning the partnership and the legal risk, and of course the financial risks. Then we worked on the exploitation roadmap, and in this roadmap we started to focus. Well, of course we put in paper all the steps that we needed to follow in order to get to a commercialization point. And here we also focused on the financial needs, which are key now, of course. And then on the business opportunity assessment tool, we found out that we are, of course, very strong in the technology, but maybe weaker on the team that we have to strengthen. So yeah, so the overall experience was fantastic. As I said, one of our main weakness was that we had only focused on the technology. So being able to focus on having, as I said, a systematic approach to the exploitation really gave us a view on what steps we had to follow and how to follow them, our weaknesses, and well, it was such a great experience that we then participated in the business plan development, which we also found very, very interesting. That we just finished. We just finished this summer, and we are now in a process where we're engaging with investors, and we are seeing that everything that we have worked on for the past months with Gustavo is really related to what investors want to know right now about us. So it was overall a great experience. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alejandro, for sharing with us your experience. And now, I will give the floor to myself, because I need to introduce the next set of services, which is the go-to-market services. So I'm going to share my screen. Could you please confirm that you can see my screen properly?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, so third set of services, service 3, go-to-market. I will introduce the overall the services and present the first ones. Then I would give the floor to Chiara Eleonora De Marco, senior expert in HIB from Chautec P&O Consulting. And then we will have our last testimonial, Claudio Casolari from the Eco Inc. project. So let's start. What you need to know, first of all, is that go-to-market services, go-to-market support is divided in 6 support types. Therefore, under the name and the category of go-to-market, you have service support type 1, which is pitching, 2, support and guidance for IPR, 3, training and innovation management, 4, business services, which then are subdivided again in 3 other type of streams, 5, examining options for exploitation, and 6, access to non-EU funding. And then we will go through each one of those. Eligibility for what concerns go-to-market services. So not all support typologies can be selected because there is a limit given by max number of equivalent working days that experts can devote to each project. And when you apply for the go-to-market services, the platform does not allow for specific combinations. But go-to-market services can be requested after module C or a BPD completion, or as a standalone. It depends much on the stage of maturity of your key exploitable results. To request go-to-market services, you need to upload at application level dissemination and exploitation plan, or at least an advanced business plan, or you should come from a service 2, so business plan development service completed. The focus again here is on one key exploitable result, which has to be already clearly identified. I saw on Slido one question that I can address right now because this is connected to why are we always mentioning one key exploitable result or 3 key exploitable results? Because the idea is that the experience with the Horizon Results Booster is a learning experience for the consortium, and therefore tools, methodologies, and approaches which are shared, tested, and worked during the service delivery then can be transferred by partners to the other key exploitable results they identify throughout the life of the project. Because it's not possible to request all the services directly at the application stage, what we suggest is to combine them into packages. If this cannot be done at application stage, this will be asked you after the application is submitted. But in the slide here, you have examples of suggested packages of combination of services. But whichever question you might have in this direction, please ask and contact us. In the slide, I'm not going to go now directly throughout each one of the flows, but when you will receive the slides, you will have the flows per each support type subservice. I'm going to introduce you the first 3. So the first one is support type 1 as pitching. The pitching service envisages training and coaching on how to present exploitable results to potential investors, business partners, and other relevant stakeholders. Clearly, you need to have, a very clearly identified key exploitable result, and therefore this usually happens very close to the end of a project's lifespan. Please remember, Horizon Results Booster services can be requested as well by closed projects, and therefore, even if you are in a situation in which your project is closed, you are eligible and you can request the services. This service can be delivered as a standalone. I mean, you can request just this one, or as part of a service package, as I just showed you. And applicants in this case could be single projects or project groups from which at least one project was funded under FP7, H2020, or Horizon Europe, ongoing or closed. Quickly delivery steps. Step 1, expert appointment and first contact with beneficiaries. Step 2, preparation of the capacity building, so review of the different tools, canvases, feedback reports, request to prepare an elevator pitching file. Step 3, capacity building, half-day webinar or workshop on investor readiness, how to pitch and review the elevator pitching file. Step 4, the pitching session, organization of a simulated online-offline pitching, 3 minutes presentations, 5 minutes of Q&A and feedbacks from investors. Finally, final report, including recommendations. Go-to-market support type 2, support and guidance for IPR. Because there are already several other initiatives from the European Commission and moreover at European level addressing IPR matters and to avoid duplication on publicly funded projects, this service is meant to be, I would say, a startup type of service in the direction of IP. So through the service delivery, you will get explanation about the different modalities and procedures for IP management, assistance with the IP management strategy, recommendations, redirection towards the use of more specialized services. Again, this one can be delivered as a standalone or as part of a service package requested by a single project or a project group. Delivery steps in this case, experts appointment and first contact with beneficiaries, preparation of training, therefore introductory call to set specific topics of the interest, of course, of the project beneficiary, and request, of course, of documents. This usually happens 2 weeks before the training session. Step 3 is a training session, half-day webinar or workshops on basics of IPR and topics agreed during the introductory call: patenting, IP licensing, freedom to operate, due diligence, transfer of IP, so on and so forth. Step 4, coaching, 2 hours long coaching section with in-depth description of the scope of the modalities for use of the main EC funded support services. And finally, again, a report including suggestions and recommendations. Then the next service, support type 3, training on innovation management. The service is delivered by experts of the Improve Academy, and the outcomes of the service are connected to, of course, the different dimensions on innovation management, how they interrelate, how they can be applied in different contexts, how they can be used to transform organizations. This service can be delivered as a standalone or as part of a service package, and applicants, again, could be single projects or project groups. This is a full training, so full day online training course designed to enhance the innovation management competencies of interested consortia, whichever is the competition of the consortium. 5 dimensions of innovation management are deeply assessed and approached, so strategy, organization and culture, lifecycle management, enabling factors and results. Then there is the introduction of definitions and benefits of innovation, management, concepts, all the dimensions connected to the management, as well connected, of course, on how to monitor your progresses in terms of KPIs. So there is a combination again of theory and practice with case studies, and you will receive a final report, again, summing up the service delivery, but as well with recommendations and suggestions. Another element which is worth to mention, which applies to all the services which have been introduced so far, is that service delivery is done remotely, online, And therefore, there is no problem connected, of course, to traveling around, to organize rooms, and to organize physical meetings. And therefore, there is so the possibility for all the partners to attend and be active part of the service delivery, even if usually it's the coordinator or the exploitation manager or exploitation or dissemination work package leader or an interested partner to submit the application. All the partners can be involved in the service delivery, can be, invited to join the workspace of the platform, where the exchange of information with the experts is mainly done. This is it from my side on the first 3 sub-services of the go-to-market. I would like now to give the floor to Chiara Eleonora De Marco from Ciao Tech P&O Consulting, and she's as well senior expert of the HRB. Chiara, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Alessia. Can you confirm you can see my presentation, the screen?
Yes. Perfect, full mode, go.
Okay. So thank you very much, Alessia. It was actually very helpful to have your presentation as an introduction even to the go-to-market services that I'm going to present, in which P&O Consultants is specifically involved for the delivery. So the first service that I'm going to present you, it's the support type number 4 of go-to-market, the business services. So the idea in general that you need to keep in mind for the go-to-market services, as Alessia anticipated, is that we are talking about projects that could benefit from the services when they have already developed solution with high TRL levels, or that in general can already envision an entrance to the market, because the idea is to support exactly this steps, the latest step before entering the market. So for the business services specifically, we intend to provide support to mature use models which are already available or that have been already pre-identified by the beneficiary of the services. So of course, once the project gets to a business service, they had already worked a lot on identifying and characterizing their key exploitable results, so that the P&O consultants and BTO consultants involved in the support can actually work on the activities of the business services. The kind of activities included in this kind of support are can be identified at 3 different levels. So the first one focuses on preparing commercialization plans for a solution that have already been developed, as said, that are focused on the tested products and that already have identified a kind of an exploitation strategy. A second kind of support and activities focus on assessing an already developed business plan by the beneficiary in order to improve all the aspects of the business plan, assess their feasibility, and making available a final more focused and more impactful business plan. The third and last kind of activities, including the business service, focus indeed on one exploitation option, one of the many possible exploitation option, which is the creation of a new venture, so startups or spin-offs coming out from the project that should, of course, develop a complete business model and a new commercialization plans for the solution developed. So what kind of tools can you actually encounter during this kind of business service support? We work with different tools, which have been, some of them specifically developed for the Horizon Results Booster. Some others are just the outcome of years and years of experience of the consultants. In our case, for example, we work on the 4 Ps assessment strategies in order to push the beneficiary beneficiary thinking about the specific aspects of the of how to set up an efficient and effective commercialization strategies. So think about the product, the price, promotion, and places where in which the solution developed is made available. Then, of course, business model assessment tools in which we conduct assessment in collaboration and in support of the beneficiaries, and we ask a very strong interaction and iteration of work with the beneficiaries, or, for example, the commercialization plans. Again, trying to focus the kind of solution offered on the customer's needs, the kind of companies' skills needed to succeed on the market, the identification and analysis of the competitions in order to scan the external environment and understand how to be on the market and compete with other actors, or how to collaborate with other actors on the market, and of course the general context in which we are operating. So this kind of tools are used throughout very different kind of activities. So, for example, here you can see a more specific grill on the types of support offered on one side, how long does it take, or how long the experts would work with you in this kind of, in what kind of activities, and the tools offered. So, indeed, we have a diverse kind of timing for the commercial, the co-design of a commercial plan development. We have a work which is estimated lasting for a month, and also we were saying it starts from the assessment of what is the positioning that the beneficiary is looking for its own innovation, and working on this strategic positioning through different tools that have different level of assessment. So there is self-assessment by different beneficiaries and an individual assessment run by the experts, and then of course there is the possibility of working together and getting feedback from the experts and discussing how this plan could actually be developed in a more effective way. Then the second part of the activity is focused on the advising or supporting the beneficiary on how to optimize a strategy which has been already outlined. For the second type of support, the feasibility studies, as I was saying, the duration is a bit different. So it should last around 3 weeks, and is more focused on examining an already developed business plan. Making sure that this business plan is consistent, is feasible, and can actually go on the market in a fruitful way. Same thing for the feasibility of this business plan and the profitability, so the aspects of whether or not this business plan is going to have an impact for the actors, the beneficiaries, and the general societal impacts. And again, the tools that I showed you in previous slides are used, of course, in this kind of activities. The third types of support, this is specifically focused on one option, one way of commercializing or getting onto market, which is the creation of startups and spin-offs as a duration of 4 weeks. And it starts as a path of starting from assessing the business proposition plans and going through, of course, the analysis of the teams and who is involved, what are the internal element, the national governmental definition of startups, of spin-offs, of course, for all the regulation, and then, of course, assessing all the legal and regulatory aspects related to that, and then, of course, getting ready to have the launch of a new venture, considering all the environmental, ethics, and quality standards needed for the establishment of a new young company. Let me go. Okay. Another kind of support type that we can offer under the go-to-market is the examining options for exploitation. Again, finding the best options to exploit the solutions developed during funded projects, of course, can be harder than it seems, and there is a variety of options that can be considered and are not always the more obvious ones. So again, we're talking about potential appliance with a solution of higher TRL with mature use models and advanced development of CARES. And the focus and the characteristic of this kind of service is exploring and evaluating and assessing the pros and cons of the several exploitation models and options, and supporting the choice of the ones that fit the most the solutions developed in order to have higher impact on the market. So the kind of activities in this case are developed throughout a duration of 4 weeks and focus on the first steps of assessing which are the exploitation and commercialization strategies that the beneficiary might have already developed, trying to improve them, and then having a second phase of feedback and advising and supporting which are the best fitting exploitation options that have been identified. Again, in this case, the kind of tools that are used can be something like the ones that you see here. Of course, it starts from, in order to create the communication and the interaction between the beneficiaries and the experts, it is necessary to focus and characterize the CARES, which is a work that, of course, the project would have already developed. And then the communication about which are the ways in which the beneficiary intends to exploit the results. And then, of course, again, analyzing the commercialization plan and getting feedback and assessment from both the beneficiary and the service provider in this case. To go to the last one, last kind of service of the go-to-market, we have the access to non-EU funding. So of course, we know that we are talking about beneficiaries of European fundings in this case. So you know how to win some public money, but the idea is that for every new kind of solution developed, the strategy, the funding strategy to be developed needs to be tailored and customized to the need and the characteristic of this new solution. So of course, the idea is to develop a very thorough funding strategies that could refer to both public and private funding, and even exploring options of funding which go beyond the European funding themselves, of which, of course, the beneficiary already benefited. So the very goal of this kind of projects is, again, trying to achieve a preliminary conceptualization of potentially an innovative or a new project proposals that stemmed out from the projects that the beneficiary has been developed up to now, and then goes around looking for additional funding and support for further development. Kind of activities included in these services focus on the identification of all the available funding opportunities, but actually focusing more on identifying, scoping the one that are best suited for the objectives of the beneficiaries and the kind of solutions developed. And then, of course, once we have this general overview, understanding how to prioritize the opportunities. How do we do that? We do that focusing on different steps of the activities and using, again, different tools, starting from, of course, an exploration of the kind of fundings which are available, but even before doing that, understanding what is the kind of solution and what could be the project which is actually seeking funding. So identifying the needs, the kind of research, development, and innovation activities that should be run, of course, gives input to understanding which are the kind of funding that should be identified. And then, of course, we have a way of supporting the beneficiary in identifying all this opportunity, and then, of course, evaluating evaluating the pros and cons of each of them in order to find the ones that best fit the needs of funding or the goals and the scope that the projects developed is actually able to pursue. The final phase focus on coaching and training the beneficiary of the service on assessing the strengths and weaknesses of the new project proposal, which is going to be developed, and of course getting the beneficiary started on preparing this new proposal, observing of course the characteristics of the fundings identified. So this again is a summary of the activities that I was presenting you through the tools. The support, the actions that are included in the non-EU funding support strategy are focused on, again, the first step of analyzing the project which the beneficiary wants to develop and scanning the funding opportunity, then preparing a strategic funding strategy that can, of course, be the most effective, and then focusing on the application, how to prepare the application, how to optimize the concept, the structure, how to argument and to make the proposal or the concept of the proposal more robust and a winning kind of proposals. Of course, always having feedback and assessment from the beneficiaries and additional input in order to have an high quality potential project to be submitted. So this is in general our kind of support. I thank you very much for the attention, and I just want to introduce you Mr. Claudio Casolari, which is the sales and marketing director of MECCO, a company which was responsible for the Eco Inc. project, which benefited from some of the go-to-market services. So thank you very much, and I leave the floor to Claudio.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Sorry, we are a little late, but I will be the quicker guest of the morning. It was really interesting to participate to this event. Thanks to Alessia Melasecchi to invite us. MECCO, we are actually a chemical company established nearly 30 years ago. We have a long experience in color and making chemistry for colors. In the early exchange of the century, early 2000s, the ceramic field in which we are working on exchange totally the technology. We pass from the analogic printing to the digital printing methods. This big jump into new technology, of course, brought into the industry new problems. Of course, problems related to the material that has to be used in the digital application. We, as a chemistry experts, we found interesting to dedicate a lot of time to some of our time to solve these problems and to try to be positives for the future. That's why we jump into the what we call Water Inc. Or Eco Inc. project. The aim of the goal of our project was to remove the organic solvents from the color preparation. And after 3 long, exhausting years, we achieved it. This is a super goal, and it has involved like nearly 3 million euros, on which 1 million was taken from the Edge 2020, and the rest was actually employed from our own sources. Today, as I said, we have a solution which is absolutely new. It's totally made in Italy, and as you can see from the small picture I have here, we are actually delivering a very highly technical solution to the ceramists. We have made a color that sink into the body of the ceramic and makes the ceramic the extreme, the extreme hard surface. So we overcome not only the organic solvent problems, but we also deliver a full new technology to a big industry. Don't forget that the ceramic industry, it's about 40 trillions dollars business in the world. So we are participating to this great business. Our color, as I said, are entering into the body of the material, sticking into it, giving you a very lasting age. The project, as I said, has a 3 years duration, and we just finished it. I'd like to thank Engineer Chiara Zocchi, which is actually it's been for 3 years my partner in this business. Wasn't so easy. We overcome a lot of technical issues, and of course, at the end of the day, when the product is ready, which is my early next morning, we have to go to market. Then I choose to participate to all the 3 options, to the PDIS for the exploitation. I went through the second modules to the BPD, then I found it very interesting. A business plan, it's something that has to be studied and put it into the receipt whenever you have a good product to deliver. And then the G2 market, which to me it's the most interesting, since it's my own business. I have choose to participate to all of those because I asked to myself, who am I to do it myself? I mean, it might be interesting to mirroring my paradigms, my thoughts. I mean, I was formed as an engineer in this sector, but many years ago. So let's get and do some mirroring. And thanks to the work we did together, Chiara Zocchi and Luigi Ranza was the other Chautec engineer that cooperated with us. I think we got something interesting. I mean, we renovate Metco as a company in a very interesting way. So my suggestion is take part of the project, do it with the human touch. Because trust, coaching, and human relations are the very and deep important part of the recipe. Thanks to Edge 2020, it was a great experience, and I hope to be able to deliver in future more and more interesting eco ink and eco products. Thank you, everyone. I hope we end in time. It's 12:10. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudio, for sharing with us your experience. And thank you very much, Chiara, first for, of course, having detailed more about the other go-to-market services. So now we are just 2 minutes late on the agenda, so not too bad with so many speakers and so much interesting to be shared. I kindly ask the colleagues to share the Slido questions so we can start the Q&A session live. So here we do have the most ranked questions. So let's see. Colleagues made the effort to answer your question directly in the Slido, but for the benefit of all the, of course, connected people now, I'm going to read the question and provide answer, or to, of course, address the answer to the relevant speaker in this case. So first question, what is the best time to apply for the booster when the project is near to an end or during the project? I can answer this one on my own. It depends much on the activities planned in the project life. Clearly, if you are already an ongoing project and you are close to an end, this is always a good moment. But if you are starting your activities, I would suggest to request the services around in between the 3rd and the 6th month. As I was saying at the very beginning, when you fill in and submit your application, you have 1 year time for the service delivery. This means that if you submit your application today, you can plan to receive your services until September, October 2022. And therefore, this will help you as well to organize. Please make sure that activities fit with the activities in terms of dissemination exploitation you already planned for your project. Is there a specific TRL level that is recommended in order to get these services? Not really. As I was saying again, services are not TRL connected. Services are more related to the fact that the consortium or specific partners are ready to implement, to discuss, to approach, to face what is connected to dissemination and exploitation and activities, of course, related. And therefore, it's more being mature in a sense of really having a clear idea, at least, of which partner of the consortium would lead certain type of activities and which is the final goal to be achieved. And then we can really support you during the process. What if projects in a group are potential competitors rather than potential partners? This is a nice question. How it works? I mean, Nick explained this pretty, well, but how it works. When you apply as an individual project to benefit from services which are meant to be for project groups, you will be approached by the experts, and experts will, suggest you some projects which you could group with. First point is that the applicant, of course, is always a question about the other projects to form a project group, and therefore, if there is any, thinking behind about aligning with competitors instead of partners, the applicant has always the last word on this. And then when the applicant, somehow gives green light to have the other project contacted to form the project group, as well the other projects should say, of course, give the green light to say, yes, we would like to go with the project group and go for the Horizon Results Booster services. And therefore, there is not really the risk to group together competitors. And there is only the possibility and the opportunity to leverage on commonalities and to address the same stakeholders, the same target audience in, a group way. And so I think that this is only a real opportunity.
And Alessia, if I could just add something, yeah. So it's an interesting question. I think there are many things which you could disseminate. So if there's an area in which you feel there's competitiveness between the projects, perhaps dissemination on that particular result could be avoided. You could do some joint activity around something else, though. For example, we saw these policy brief documents and having a set of recommendations from a group of projects, which perhaps avoids any, competitive issues, but provides a set of clear recommendations to policymakers to improve general impact of the research area, then this could be something that could be explored. Also, the Commission often want projects to collaborate, even if they're addressing the same issues, for example. So you can also kill two birds with one stone in that way too. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. Please stay connected, because I would go I'm just jumping not to the first to the second question there, taking the opportunity that you are live. So how are the project groups made? How quickly we as an individual project can get feedback on which project group will our project be put? So please.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, once your application is approved, then we receive this and we contact you to basically start the service. We generally try and get a quick call with you to understand In your application form, you generally mention if you've got projects in mind you want to collaborate with. If not, then we will have a conversation with you to see if there's already people you want us to contact. If there's not, then we'll go away and carry out some desktop research, which normally takes around a week or so, and we come back to you with the list of projects which we've found. The tricky part is next often, because it's all very well us providing a report to you with a set of recommendations, and here are 4 projects you could go and do something with. So I don't know how many people would then go and follow that up. So what we do is we try to go and contact each of these projects and invite them to the group. And we actively try to do this because our objective is to form a group at the end of module A, not just to have a report. So that sometimes depends on the responses we get from the projects, but this can be quite quick to set up, and then we start going on the actual service.
Thank you very much, Nick. Project coordinator submits, but who participates? All project partners. Project coordinator submits, that's true, or as I was saying, exploitation dissemination manager, or package leader, or an organization within the consortium with a specific role in this direction. But then once the application is approved, all the interested partners could be invited to join the workspace on the platform, and of course will be involved in the service delivery. There are cases in which there is just one partner interested, and in that case, the service delivery is of course devoted to that partner. But in, I would say, 95% of cases, we have all the project partners on board. And therefore, in principle, the HIB services are for the overall consortium. Which is the difference between the Horizon Results Booster and the Innovation Radar? The Innovation Radar is more for assessing innovation potential of a project, while the Horizon Results Booster is supporting project partners, consortia to achieve an impact in terms of dissemination, joint dissemination in that case, and exploitation type of activities. Therefore, there is, two completely different type of initiatives, I would say. Do you confirm that the slides will be shared afterwards? Yes, I can confirm that. So this was easy. Is application, it is as well a recorded session, so you will have as well, access to the webinar. Is application to the program, is a competition or available to all who apply? There is no competition. If you are an eligible project, you will benefit from the HIB services. Of course, the sooner the better somehow, because clearly there is a dedicated budget by the European Commission, and therefore, of course, we can deliver the services till the budget is completely used in delivering services. Therefore, but there is no direct, I would say, competitive type of evaluation. Okay, so each application is evaluated as a standalone. Another connected information to that I think could be useful is that if you would like to start with one service, you can submit an application with one service, and then, ongoing, or even when the service is fully delivered, you can submit another application for other services. And therefore, it's not that you have to submit just one application and that's it. You can request the services all at the same time, or you can request the service one by one. This is really up to you. Under module A, how the projects are clustered in portfolio, it is made manually through the experts, or do you use a specific clustering IT tool? Nick, this is for you once again.
This is for me, yeah. So it really depends on the field. Normally this is done manually, following a first call with the applicant, so that we can identify whether or not they've already got projects they would like to work with. But then this is really done on a manual basis, looking at the various topics of the applicant project and the target stakeholders that they want to target. However, in some areas, so for example, in cybersecurity, there's a the EU project Radar, which has just been provided by the Cyberwatching project. And that is a tool where you can map cybersecurity projects on thematic fields, on vertical sectors, and on technology topics. So when there's something like that available, we will use it. However, it's generally trying to join the dots between the various projects that we can identify and find, and then with the applicant, work with them to decide whether or not we've hit the nail on the head and got it right, or if we should go back and look for further projects.
Thank you very much, Nick. The point on a single application is not that clear. I first understood that only the coordinator may apply, but how if many partners apply? Okay, the single application means that, of course, as you can imagine, there are a lot of projects applying for the HLB services and would like to receive the support. This is why we can deliver the same type of service only once to the project. The basics behind is that projects are run by consortia, and we understand that the consortium partners are, collaborative, and they are working together and sharing, the activities, of course, towards the achievement of the goals. And therefore, usually when the coordinator or another partner decides to request HLP service, this is first shared internally in the consortium and agreed. And then it would be good as well to inform your project officer that you would like to request HLP services. So when we call in the project officers, they are not surprised. And therefore, of course, we are going to, accept one application per project. And once the application is approved, as I said, whoever is the applicant, all the partners should be invited to benefit from the service delivery. Again, as I said, and this I think clarifies as well even more, the service team, the appointed experts, the service team is always composed by senior expert, junior expert, and then a graphic designer if this is requested for specific services, and a project manager. Experts act as facilitators. They guide you through a process, and they support your activities with approaches, methodologies, and using the different tools and approaches and methodologies on your key exploitable results. But as I was already saying, this is a learning experience for the consortium. It's not that the consortium can request per each key exploitable result the same services. The consortium should take the most out of the service delivery and then transfer the know-how gained during the service delivery to the other key exploitable results, and hopefully to new proposals or to as well other projects. It's clear that when a project is closed and it's clear who has the right to exploit certain key exploitable results, in that case, it's easier that it's one project partner which requests the service for that specific key exploitable result. But for ongoing projects, this needs to be shared internally in the consortium first. Is the booster relevant at all for individual fellowships? Yes, it is. And we already supported several initiatives, several Marie Curie initiatives, and beneficiaries were, happy of the support received because they could see things from a different perspective. And please bear in mind, it's not that we support only projects that would like to commercialize something. We support any type of project, 360 degrees, and the final aim for all of those is that we support them achieving an impact. An impact could be on the community, on the market, could be on having something new adopted by policymakers, could be a new PhD course at the university, could be a lot of different things. Therefore, please do not be prevented in requesting HLB services because the aim of your activity is not to, commercialize something, okay? Are all the partners involved in the service delivery? What level of commitment? Okay, as I said, yes. What level of committed is requested the consortium members? We expect that beneficiaries collaborate with experts, providing the information, attending the webinars, attending the workshops, and being active. I mean, it's not that the expert will come and as a consultant, we provide you all the answers to your questions. This is a collaborative service delivery. It's interactive and for sure includes the partners. Then, of course, there will be partners directly involved if they are directly connected to the key exploitable results which have been selected, but as well partners which are not directly involved. For a specific key exploitable result, they can take the benefit of learning something new and collaborating with the other partners. When in the project's timeline from planning to finishing the project, would you recommend to apply again? I would say with the entry level of the dissemination and exploitation services, this means service 1, module A and module C, this could happen even in the first 6 months of the project's life. So there are no, I would say, entry level criteria that needs to be matched. And we can even support to, better plan or better organize, your activities, your project activities in terms of course, dissemination and exploitation. Where does communication fit in module A and B? Difficult to segregate dissemination from the communication strategy. Actually, communication and dissemination, and then I will give you the floor, Nick, but just to point out that communication and dissemination have a different aim and different activities, to achieve that aim. But now I give the floor to Nicholas to answer that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Leslie, you've captured it well. Of course, there is a little bit of overlap, but the focus of the HRB dissemination services is on dissemination. But it's also, as I said, about collaboration and forming synergies. So I think there's a question later about how much effort's needed and can you get extra resources for this? Well, this is kind of provided as a support for project groups. It's not meant as extra effort for you. It's meant as, somebody giving you, somebody having effort to provide a level of support for you to carry out some, to improve, for example, the exploitation or in the cases for dissemination, to do something perhaps in addition to or leveraging on what you're already doing and what you've written in your contract with the Commission. So, you may have a KPI to deliver, 10 events, for example. Why can't one of these, or why can't 3 of these events be in collaboration with 4 other projects? So, we help you to meet your established KPIs, and we help you to actually deliver extra things with added value for all the projects involved. So I think it is possible in particular when you think about your communication and dissemination plan and where you're aiming to collaborate with other projects. And this is where you can, contribute. You can use this support to contribute to creating and reaching your objectives and even going beyond them, as you've seen in the examples that we've heard from Martina and Kevin.
Thank you very much, Nick. Does HB provide assistance also in drafting the data management plan? Okay, we do a lot of things. We provide a lot of support, but to be honest, not, in drafting data management plan. It's true that if, this is one of this is one of the deliverables, which is as well connected somehow to the dissemination and exploitation. Experts can give a look, but there is not a specific mandate connected to the data management plan, to be honest. What is the role of the ECPO in this service application? Okay, my suggestion is to inform the ECPO before submitting your application, and then the ECPO won't be directly won't be directly involved in the service delivery, but your PO will receive the final report, which will be prepared by the experts, which will include, the summarizing of all the work done together, all the improvements, and as well suggestions and recommendations for the next steps. Therefore, it's not directly connected with the service delivery, but it's important that the PO is pre-informed. As coordinator, shall I first apply without any preconceived idea and then embark in a dialogue with experts to express a precise need? No. As a coordinator, I think that you should first discuss internally with your partners, mainly with the ones directly responsible or at least in charge of the management of dissemination and exploitation activities. And then decide, of course, the best timing periods to request and benefit from the service. And then you submit your application. In the application, you will be as well requested, which is the aim of the service delivery on your side, and which is your motivation to request the HLB services. And therefore, you can write what you feel to write. Then, of course, during the introductory call, we did the first introductory call with the experts, you can, of course, align, fine-tune service delivery with motivation, with what is expected, and align then the next step for the service delivery. It is agreed as well during the first call, the service delivery plan with the to-dos on the experts and on the project beneficiary. What is the cost of all these services? Free of charge, free of charge. All the services are free of charge. This is a European Commission initiative, and therefore fees of the experts are paid by the Commission. Projects funded by programs such as Erasmus+, Creative Europe are as well eligible. Are eligible projects which have been or are funded or will be funded once, of course, funded under FP7, H2020 and Horizon Europe. So all the initiatives which fall under FP7, H2020 and Horizon Europe are, of course, projects funded there can benefit from the Horizon Results Booster. Not the others programs yet, at least. Okay, what would be the time commitment necessary from the project participants? It depends much on the type of service. The dissemination services could go from 1 to 4, 5. The exploitation services could go from 4 to 10, 12, 15. It depends much on the type of service. And this will be clarified once you start with the experts, because as I said, you will agree on a service delivery plan, and therefore, and it depends much as well on the stage of development and maturity of the beneficiaries. It was said you need to set aside resources plus time to do this. Can the PO give project leaders in order to take part? Okay, no. I mean, you have to run your project as it is planned in the description of action annexed to the grant agreement that you signed. So these are the basics. And then what you can do is that, of course, the time that you devote to collaborate with the experts during the HLB service delivery, you can report that time in the relevant work packages, of course, connected to dissemination and exploitation activities. But no, there is no additional timing and then additional budget, as far as I can understand. When you have an HLB service delivered. I mean, I think it's already a great opportunity that those services are for free for the project beneficiaries. How are the services delivered online or in person? We are delivering services online. Currently, this is the setup. We are discussing for the future to have some services as well delivered in person, but for the time being and for what stays of 2021 and 2022, all the services will be delivered online. This distinction could be made in future for the exploitation and go-to-market services. In any case, dissemination services will be delivered online. How long does it take from application to be approved? Well, this is pretty fast, I would say. As I said, 3 to 5 days on the Commission side for the eligibility check. Then the applicant receives notification from the HRB platform that the application has been approved. When you receive this notification, I receive the same one. I appoint the service team, senior, junior, expert, and project manager. And then once the service team is approved by the Commission, it happens again within 3-5 days. You will receive a notification from the HRB platform, which presents you the experts. And from that moment on, the service delivery can start. Just for you to know, if perhaps you submit an application today and you picked, the service delivery for, let's say, the first quarter of 2022, then you will be contacted in short time by the expert to agree on the service delivery plan. But then the service delivery will actually start in the quarter that you picked in your application form. Of course, if in the time being you decide to anticipate or to postpone the service delivery, you need to agree this with the appointed experts. This is doable, but this needs to be agreed because we need to inform as well the European Commission, which approved your application. The limitation to one care is because they see once that project focuses on one care, can be a combination of cares billing. Okay. I would say the limitation one care, no, is not because the Commission would like you to concentrate on one key exploitable result. It's because, as I was saying during my presentation, this is a learning experience for the project partners. And therefore, because we would like to serve more projects, as much as possible, I would say, we have a time limit that we can devote to each project. And therefore, we concentrate on 1 or 3 key exploitable results, it depends on the service, to have the project experiencing the use of the methodologies, the tools, and to have the possibility to set a process that then can be transferred to other key exploitable results. And on the second question, one care can be a combination of cares to build and attract the offer. Of course, yes. So you should not just concentrate on one key exploitable result when thinking to the project, but this is a suggestion. You can pack more than one key exploitable result to make your offer more attractive for your customers or interested stakeholders. Can HRB help us if we have already started the project and produced deliverables such as exploitation strategy plan or dissemination plan? Of course, yes. As I said, then the services are the ones that I presented, and experts have presented even more in detail. But the extent to which the services are delivered depends much on the level of maturity of the project. Therefore, we can give a certain type of support if you are in the first month. We will give you another level of support if you are, mid-term or closer to an end. So even if services are predetermined somehow in the structure, but then the service delivery is customized to match the needs of the project beneficiary. And therefore, yes, there are services like the business plan development and the go-to-market services for which you are requested to submit at the application stage at least a draft of the application plan or the business plan or the dissemination plan. In case of Marie Curie, it might be useful to inform about HRB during the grant agreement preparation phase and no later than month 3 for the start date of the project. I mean, I do agree with you that this would be nice to have. I mean, the Commission is really doing the best to promote the HRB services and to let, you know, current projects, new applicants, or just funded projects to, I mean, to know about the HRB and to then request the HRB. I mean, an event like the one we are having today goes in this direction again. So we are trying to promote on the Commission side, on the contractor side, the HRB service as much as possible. And of course, I would appreciate that as well the participants to this event can even, you know, spread the verb even further. Question for Kevin and Martina. Do you identify the main results before or after applying to the HRB? Martina, please.
Yeah, okay. Well, the main results, if I have understood correctly, the question are already set in the grant agreement and in the project proposal. What we have identified within the project, within the service, is the key exploitable results that basically you start from the results you are aiming to reach during the project, but then you put in a different way and a different point of view in an exploitable way to make use of the results that you will obtain. So this is
okay, thank you very much, Martina. Kevin, do you have something to add, or you would like to share your experience?
I agree with Martina. I think when we put a proposal in for funding, we have clear goals, but of course over 4 years markets change. So the HRB is very, very useful for us in, you know, helping us to keep abreast of the changes whilst we're focused on the research work that we're doing. So in answer, I think we probably go in with identified main results, but we change them constantly with the HRB's inputs.
Thank you very much, Kevin and Martina. What if I don't know which service is more suitable for my project? How can I apply? There are 2 ways, or you present your case in an email addressed to booster@meta-group.com, so the functional mailbox of the booster, or you can submit your application requesting the entry-level services, and then we can discuss this later. But if you would like to know, I mean, to better understand how it could work for your project, you can contact us. Is it possible to propose which service type is the most suitable based on the TRL? As I said, service delivery is not directly connected with the TRL level. Shall project groups be constituted upon initiative by a group of beneficiaries, or are the portfolio being constituted top-down by HRB? I think that Nick already addressed this question. Project group can apply directly as a project group, or the project group can be created as a first step of Module A service delivery. Question to Martina. The exploitation strategy seminar was an internal, I can answer this, Martina, as well, was an internal event with the participation of the experts who organized the exploitation. Okay, the exploitation strategy seminar, it's organized by the consortium together with the expert. It's a full day in which the expert, in an interactive way, works on key exploitable results with project partners. And therefore, of course, it's, first of all, the date is agreed with the consortium, among the expert and the consortium. And then there are preliminary phases, as Andrea explained, when presenting the module C. And then there is the workshop day, so the exploitation strategy seminar. And then there is the recapping final report. And therefore, it's a collaboration among the expert and the project partners. Can you please give an example to the HRB service? Say, one project, its colleagues say me, because now I need to check, but they say Safer App. Project Safer App. It's a Marie Curie that already applied. What can be done to lower the burden for projects to join? How much prior knowledge to benefit from the service? I mean, there is no burden on projects to join, I would say, because it's, I see this is coming from the European Commission, the question. I mean, projects should know that there is the HRB initiative available, and I think that in this direction, POs can help a lot. In several cases, we had application from projects which were suggested by POs to request the services, or even in some cases, they were suggested by reviewers, because perhaps there was a gap in terms of, dissemination and exploitation. I mean, this was raised at the review meeting. But the Commission, the HRB team on the EC side is as well promoting internally the HRB, and they are as well connecting to projects and having the HRB presented in several internal events of the Commission for dedicated to POs, but as well dedicated, of course, to beneficiaries and projects. Okay, I mean, we are pretty, let's say, okay, a couple of questions more. Where can someone apply to become an expert? This is to clarify for all of you. When we signed the contract with the Commission as a contractor, we already provide a list of experts. The experts list is blocked, so we can involve in the service delivery the experts that we list. We can have new experts on board, something like once a year, but this needs to be then, there is an internal procedure with the Commission. And therefore, the principle is that we involve the experts that we have already on board. We can review the list of experts. You can, submit your application as an expert, but please consider that is not automatic. And this, I mean, because you send your application, this doesn't mean that you will be involved as an expert. Are the templates publicly available? The templates are available for the ones who benefit of the HRB. Then, of course, if you benefit once of an HRB service, you can use the templates for other purposes. This is clear. Where do you draw the line between what is normally expected as dissemination from a project and the added value of the booster? This is a very nice question. As you imagine, we jump in as HRB in one precise moment of the project's life. We support the activities for the extent our mandates allows us. So, as I said, we are more process owner than responsible of the final achievement of an impact of the project, because this stays on the project partners. We support a process. Then it's up to project partner to take benefit of what has been learned during the service delivery and achieved during the service delivery, and to then, of course, bring this further. Therefore, it's more a question for the Commission for the final evaluation. But as you could hear from the testimonials that we had on board today, they already during the service delivery, they could appreciate the impact the Horizon Results Booster service delivery had on their project's life. And therefore, already this is a way to measure, our impact, I would say. Nick, you would like to add something?
Yeah, just very quickly. So I think here it's all in the name. It's a booster. So perhaps your project in your contract with the Commission, for a dissemination point of view, you have said that you carry out, for example, a workshop or a campaign on social media, and you want some support in doing this, and this is, the booster boosts the impact of your joint activity, and we kind of, we don't want to tread on toes and do something which somebody else is already supposed to be doing. We want to support it, perhaps by doing some extra things that otherwise you wouldn't be able to manage with the effort that you have in your project. So you should think of this as additional effort from an external source, both for exploitation and dissemination, so that to help you do whatever activity it is smoother and hopefully better.
Thank you very much. What is the relevance of the booster for humanities and social sciences? The same relevance that the booster can have for all the other programs and topics, because as I said, this is horizontal and 360 degrees in terms of topics and domains. Is not only for the ones who would like to commercialize, but this is, support to achieve an impact, which of course, in terms of humanities and social sciences, it's as important as any other topic. Nick?
Yeah. So again, no, there's lots of groups from this area who have applied. I was just looking at one before, which looks at the Holocaust, actually, and accounting and collecting together various records of the Holocaust. Others on the area of the Caribbean as well. So we've been able to support them in collaborating with other projects which are working on a similar topic. There's no industrial component being created here, but the impact is different. As we're looking at all types of results here, and results differ from sector and research topic.
Thank you, Nick. Just for information for you all, on the page of the event, you already have the slides available. This was posted earlier, and how Erasmus Plus project can be included in project groups. You need to be in contact. You can contact us, and then we can see how to include Erasmus Plus projects as well in project groups dealing directly with the dissemination team. Is there any pre-application advice to address this in the proposal? You can mention in submitting new proposals that you think you would like to benefit from the HRB service to boost your dissemination and exploitation. Moreover, because there's, of course, the service that we are delivering are complementary to usual activities which are foreseen in project proposals. Can you confirm that each service can be used once within the projects as they might be cursed different? Yes, I confirm each project can benefit once. This is an opportunity paid by the Commission, and therefore I think, it's nice that, a big number of projects can take benefit, okay? Sorry, I have SJU funded project can apply as well. Sorry, I have problem with this acronym. So if you manage to put this in an explicit way, but any case, as I was saying, if your initiative, your funding initiative is under FP7, H2020 Horizon Europe, the answer is yes. Otherwise, the answer is no. If we already have a partner who is in charge for dissemination and foresees the creation of this, can we apply in a way? Yes, as I said, you can, but please share this internally, because it won't be nice to have one partner applying for this service and another one which is in charge and responsible for that happening within the consortium. Okay, so this needs to be shared internally. Nick?
That's another good question. We want to kind of work and support the dissemination partner. There's loads of different things that you have to do when managing this type of activity. So again, it's not treading on toes, it's support to them, perhaps to improve or work on an area of joint collaboration with the other projects. So we encourage the dissemination managers. It should be those people who are on the calls and are participating in module A and B, and it's a support service.
Yes. So do the HRB experts have some science and technology knowledge? Yes, they do. Are they assigned according to a technical expertise in a particular field? All the experts are experts in dissemination and exploitation activities, and they have their own, of course, science and technology background and experiences dealing with European projects in the different domains. First of all, so they are dissemination and exploitation experts, which you cannot believe it, but it's a vertical expertise. And then they have as well scientific and technological background. And yes, we try to appoint for the service delivery the best experts, even according to the field. I'm currently, okay, projects funded on Life and Erasmus. As I was saying, those projects could be included in project groups. They are not eligible to apply directly to HRB, but projects which are not funded under FP7, H2020 and Horizon Europe can be part of project groups. The important thing is that at least the applicant, it's coming from the allowed funding. So they can be part of project groups. So if you are part of a Life on Erasmus and you would like to benefit from an HRB, and you know a project which is funded under the eligible funding, you can group and then submit an application. Currently, Marie Curie, interesting, exploiting my results very well. It is necessary that I must be constituted as a company? No. You are a Marie Curie, and as a Marie Curie project, you can apply for the HRB. You do not have to be constituted as a company or even a startup, nor you have to after the service delivery, unless this is your plan. Okay, so you do not have to be a company or to become a company after the HRB. In module B, you support the applicant in really writing the policy brief as a yes. Are you connecting your service with your Horizon Results Platform Enterprise Europe Network? We are connected with the Horizon Results Platform in the application form. If you already uploaded your results in the HRP in the platform, you skip some questions because, of course, we extract the relevant information already from there. With the Enterprise Europe Network, we are having some, but I mean the type of services which we deliver are more complementary than overlapping, I would say. Is there a selection process for all projects? All eligible projects are admitted to benefit. I'm sorry, I would like to go on to, answer directly live all your questions, but it's already 1. Therefore, we went beyond the agenda already of half an hour. I will connect with my colleagues now, as well, join the colleagues on the slide. Also, if there are unanswered questions there, we will answer them. And, but I think that now I have to close this HRB Info Day. I would like to say thank you for the Commission, first of all, who is funding the initiative, and which gave us the opportunity to present you in detail the initiative. I would like to thank the experts on board, the partners and the HRB colleagues on the EC side and the contractor side, and moreover, our beneficiary projects which shared with us their experiences to let you better understand which is the extent of the opportunity that the Commission is giving you. And said so, I wish you nice lunch, nice continuation of the day, and apply to the HRB. If you have questions, please contact us at our functional mailbox. We will be very happy to answer and to support your activities. So thank you very much and bye-bye.